Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good afternoon. Marhaban. Hal antum jahizun falnabda. I think we should start now. Every one of you are ready. So today we're going to discuss a new chapter. That is chapter 17 from our Loftus textbook that will cover a topic on statement of cash flows. This is a very long topic. So please be patient here. We're going to do some example exercises, and I'm going to show you how statement of cash flows being prepared by you, by the business. So what we're going to cover today is first I'm going to explain the purpose of statement of cash flows, why we need to prepare this statement, and I'm going to define what is meant by cash and cash equivalents, and we're going to see what are different types of cash inflow and outflow. We have three types of cash inflow and outflow. The first one is from operating activities. This is from our operating activities, and then we have from our investing activities, from our investing activities, and finally from financing activity. I'm going to give examples, more specific example about these three types of activities, three classification of cash flows. And then I'm going to show you what are the difference between direct and indirect method in presenting cash flow. So we have two methods. The first one is direct method, and another one is indirect method. So I'm going to show you how to use this indirect method when you are preparing the cash flow statement from your profit and loss and also balance sheet, and not from your cash accounts. Prepare a statement of cash flow, and finally is about disclosure required under AASB 107 or IAS number 7. So the first thing that I'm going to discuss today is what is the purpose of cash flow. Normally, cash flow is to discuss about the money in, and money out. So this is the basic understanding. When talking about cash flow, we want to investigate, we want to analyze about the money, the cash inflows as well as cash outflows. But to be specific, we do classify the cash inflow and outflow into three activities: the operation, the normal operating of the business; the investment, maybe you buying assets, sell assets; and also financing, for example, borrowing money from bank, issuing shares, or giving dividend to your shareholders. So these are the purpose of financial statement of cash flow. We want to supply information about the changes of cash and cash equivalents. Okay. So the statement of cash flow will assist users, especially investors, creditors, and even managers, to understand whether the company's abilities to generate cash and cash flow. We are able to see what is the amount of cash generated from the normal operation of the business, from financing, from investing. Okay. So we'll also examine the able to have entity to identify the effect, the amount of timing, the timing, and uncertainty of generating future cash flow, and also the entities need to utilize cash and cash equivalent. So these are the main purpose of preparing the statement of cash flow. So as I mentioned before, that the cash flow arise from three activities. The first one is operating activities, second investment activities, and finally is financing activities. So by doing this analysis, it helps us to understand the movement in cash during the period. So for users, by knowing this information, they would be able to predict about the future cash flow. Though people many argues that information is past information, but that past information will help users to identify the trends and the potential of the business in generating future cash flows. So they would be able to meet the obligation, to pay the liabilities, to pay the interest, to pay the loans to the bank, and also give dividend to the user, to the shareholders, for payment of dividend as well as obligations. So, in conjunction with other financial statement, information of cash flow assists user to understand the reason for differences between profit and loss and also the cash flow. As what we have learned before during AQ111 or AQ112, the preparation of financial statements are based on accrual basis. What it means that we recognize revenue when it is earned, and we also record expenses when we incur the expenses. It's not based on the cash receipt or the cash payments. Some of the expenses are non-cash expense. For example, depreciation. Depreciation is a non-cash expense, or amortization is also non-cash expense. So by looking at the cash flow, we are looking at the hard elements, but the cash inflow, the real cash inflow, and the real cash outflow. So maybe the performance, maybe the profit is good, but the cash flow might not be good. Yeah. So this help you to understand what are the real performance of the business. We can compare with other entities as well. So let us define what is cash flow. What is cash? Cash basically comprised of cash on hand, maybe as your deposit as well. So this is cash. We have two terms here. The first one is cash, and the second one is cash equivalents. Cash equivalent are short-term, high liquid investment, maybe your fixed deposit, yeah, maybe you're saving in fixed deposit or unit trust that readily convertible to a known amount of cash. If you have 100,000 in the fixed deposit, so this amount can easily be converted to cash. Or you have a unit trust, guaranteed unit trust, the par value is guaranteed, so that amount can be easily converted to cash at any point of time without any significant risk of changes in value. If you put your money in the stock market, yes, you can easily convert the money to cash, but it's subject to risk. Because why? Because that amount of money, that investment are subject to the changes in the stock prices. So what is cash equivalent? Short-term, high liquid investment. High liquid mean easily to convert to cash and readily convertible to a known amount of cash, to a fixed amount of cash. But if you invest in stock market, you won't able to know the amount of cash that you're going to receive, because the stock prices change every minute. Every minute. It can goes up, you make a gain from there, and it can goes down where you will suffer capital loss from the investment. So para 7 of AASB 107 or IAS 7 explain that cash equivalent are held for the purpose of meeting short-term cash commitment and not for investment or other purposes. So the most important thing is the cash equivalent is for short-term commitment. Maybe you have to pay your vendors, you need to pay your bank. So for just putting in the current account, it won't help you to generate any income. So you put it in the fixed deposit, give you some profit or interest from the amount, from the total amount invested or deposited to the fixed deposit account. So cash equivalent must be convertible into a known amount of cash. Yeah. This means that the amount of cash that will be received must be known at the time of the initial investment. When we put your money 100,000 into the fixed deposit, I call it FD. So at the end of the month, if you want to withdraw the money, you can get your fixed deposit. You will get the same amount, 100,000. But if you complete maybe 30 days, you'll be given a certain percentage of profit from there, maybe 0.2% profit for 1 month. It depends on the offer given by the bank. Okay. So this is example of composition of cash and cash equivalent. I took this example from your textbook, from Loftus textbook. So we have two years here, to 2021 and 2020. So we have two items here, cash and short-term deposit. Another one is bank overdraft. Bank overdraft is liability, but this is credit facilities given by the bank for their customer in case they need extra cash, and they will charge the customer a certain percentage of amount based on the amount used or withdrawn, from using these facilities. So in this context, our cash is 4,500, but you have overdraft 1,200. So the balance of cash, the real cash, is 3,300. Yeah. For previous year is 4,900. This is your cash, and the bank overdraft facility. You have the bank overdraft 1,100. So your real amount of cash is 3,800. Let me explain again what is bank overdraft. Cash, when you deposit your money to your cash account, your saving or current account, that is cash. But sometimes the bank give you certain facility, you call it a bank overdraft facility, whereby you can sign the check, you can withdraw the money even though you have zero balance in that account. For example, you have maybe one bank, A, B, D, C bank give you overdraft facilities. So even though you don't have the money, but the bank give you maybe 100,000 bank overdraft facility. So you need to pay a bill. So you can issue check, you can transfer the money, the payment to your customer, and then it will result with negative balance. Negative balance meaning you owe the bank. For personal users or customers like us, normally the bank give us credit card. Credit card. You don't have the money, but the bank give you credit card. For example, in Dubai, so we have so many banks, and the bank keep offering us credit card. Yeah, it's very easy to get credit cards here compared to other countries. Yeah, so they give you credit card, maybe 100,000 credit card, maybe 50,000 credit card. So you don't have the money, but you can still go shopping, withdraw the money, and the bank make profit from there. So that is negative balance. That is liability, negative balance. So you need to minus bank overdraft from your cash accounts, from your real cash account. So the net cash is 3,300, 3,800 for 2021 and 2022, 20 respectively. So this is the composition of cash. Let us look at the examples, maybe the concept of cash and cash equivalent. Okay, as I mentioned before, cash is cash on hand or demands deposit. For example, maybe notes and coin, maybe call deposit held in your financial institution, in your bank account. Your cash equivalent is short-term, short-term, high liquid investment. Maybe the bank overdraft is also considered as cash equivalent, where you can readily convert that amount to cash, or you need to pay the bank certain amount of cash. It can be bank bill, non-bank bill, deposit, this is fixed deposit, or maybe check account from overdraft. Okay. As I mentioned before, we're going to classify the cash flow into several categories, okay? So in these examples, in this figure 17.3, it gives you a good explanations, a good example about the cash inflow and outflow for three types of activities, The first one is operating activities. Second is your investing activities. Third is your financing activities. Let us go one by one. For operating activities is generally associated with revenue and expense. What are your business? What is your business? If your business is a retail type of business, you buy goods, you buy stocks, inventories from suppliers, and then you send or sell that good to your customers. So that is your normal activities of the business. So your cash inflow, your money into the business, most likely will be your sales of goods. If you provide a service to your customer, then it's going to be services provided to your customer. So that will be your cash inflow. Maybe you have cash advance and loan made by the financial institution relating to entities' main revenue or producing activities. Sometimes we have cash advance or loan, but it relates to our activities here. Activities, not like the general financing. This is just maybe credit facilities given to buy some stocks, some new stocks, and so on. So this is the cash inflow. Next, we have the cash outflow, the payment, the money out, maybe payment to suppliers for goods, pay our employees their wages for the service, to other person entities for expand, maybe for other companies for expand. Maybe you're traveling, you need to pay the fuels, you need to pay the gas, electricity, to lender for interest or other borrowing, okay, other borrowing costs or financing activity that relate to the main revenue operating activities, producing activity, maybe to governments or income for income tax or other taxes. So this fall under operating activities. The main, the major activities of the business. So these are the example. Let me repeat again. The sales, proceed from the sales of goods or services provided to your customer. Okay, that's your main, that will be your main cash inflow. Your cash outflow will be payment to supplier, payment to employees, payment to other entities that provide services to you, yeah, payment to the government. So these are all the government tax, the excise duties. So this is your main activities. Second, your investing activity. Sometimes you have extra money. So you want to invest that money. You can buy property, you can buy assets, you can buy land, for example. Okay, so if you have this asset, fixed asset, okay, and then you sell that asset, for example, your property, your building, your machine, your equipment. When you sell the asset, you dispose the asset, you will receive cash. This is where money in cash. Sales of property, plant and equipment. Second one, if you sell your shares, your investment, your debentures, you sell this, you also get the money. Okay. Or from repayment or advance or loan to other entities, you give loans. Yeah. So they pay you. So this money will increase. Or from interest received or from operating activities. Yeah. Okay. And from dividend received from your investment. If you invest, then you receive dividend. So that will be your investing activities. Yeah, you invest, you buy shares, and you receive dividend, you give loans, so then you receive the money, so that the interest, so it fall under your investing activities. Maybe you buy bond. Bond is liability, yeah, or maybe you also buy unit trust or stocks that will give you returns. Okay. However, in certain instances, you also buy or purchase new property, plant and equipment, PPE. So this will result in money, cash outflow, or you buy shares, buy debentures. So this will result in money outflow or lend money to other entities. Maybe you lend money to your directors, your employees. Yeah. So this will result in money outflow. This is outflow. This is inflow. More on investing, either the tangible asset, PPE, or other investment. And finally, is your financing activities, which result in non-current liability and also equity. Yeah, this is your non-current liability. For example, issue of share. You issue new share, that will increase your cash. Issue debentures or note, that will also increase your cash. Or maybe you borrow money from banks, that will also increase your cash. Okay. When you buy back the shares from your shareholders, you have to pay your shareholders share buyback. Share buyback means the share capital will reduce, your cash will also reduce. Or you pay dividend, this will result in cash outflow. Okay. Or maybe you redeem the debentures, you pay your debentures holders or to lender for repayment of your borrowing. So these are a good example about the cash inflow and outflow from three different categories. I'm going to explain this again, yeah? And you need to know how to classify this thing, because it will help you to prepare the statement of cash flows.